Again, thanks everybody for taking the time this morning to take a look at Acumatica CRM. We're actually going to be demoing on the beta version of 2021 R2. So cross your fingers that the beta is clean and works well. So wanted to get started by talking about what is CRM basically and the different components of it. And CRM has basically 3 areas that it focuses on. The first one is marketing. Second one is leads and prospects and opportunity management. And the third one is case management or customer service management, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to be going over some of those areas and showing you guys how the system handles the different areas. I wanted to go over this a little bit so that everybody understands. Most of you are users of the software, so you all know that a business account can be an employee, can be a prospect, can be a customer, can be a vendor. So in essence, a business account is that entity that has some relationship with each one of your organizations. And that is the center of any transaction in the system. So we have an Outlook integration, for those of you that don't know, that can then link to Acumatica and save those emails or tasks or whatever into Acumatica as well as Outlook. There's a mobile app. I'm sure you all know about that. And there's obviously the UI from a laptop or a desktop or whatever. The different areas that we're going to discuss are leads and converting leads into prospects, and then creating opportunities, creating quotes, and hopefully converting those into sales. And then that process of how it all flows. In addition to that, we have the opportunity to create support cases. And there is some new functionality in 2021 R2 that we may be discussing as well. And last but not least, some of the new features or the new improvements in 2021 R2. Probably one that I'm the most excited about is the integration to Microsoft Teams. As you know, most of you know, we use Teams internally within PC Bennett. So the ability to click in Teams and ping one of my teammates is a pretty cool feature. There's new workflows. I'm sure Tim will be discussing that. There is improvement to the user interface. There's going to be some buttons that you're going to see that are very colorful and you can't miss them. They have rearranged some of the tabs and the layout of the opportunities and the quotes. There's more dashboard functionality, and there's better validation for duplicate records. So having said that, I am going to turn this over to Tim O'Sullivan, who's gonna actually do the demo. Before I do that, if anybody has any questions, feel free to type on the Q&A or the chat, and Rick and I will be keeping an eye on those. Tim?
Thank you, Patricia.
All yours.
And thanks everybody for joining our webinar series. We're going to continue into the CRM module. And Patricia, can you see my screen? Patricia, can you see my screen? Oops, you're on mute. Sorry, I didn't see your face. I had the pictures minimized. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in. As Patricia showed on the original slide there, the flow that we have is pretty wide open. You can actually start at any one of these points on the flow. In this instance, we can start an Outlook, we could create a lead, we can convert it to a contact, we can create opportunities against that contact and lead. At some point, we would have to convert that to a business account, and then that business account can become a customer and or a vendor at any point. And then at some point, you know, once we've established them as a customer and they're buying products from us, you know, we may have some customer service activities that we need to capture, and we can capture those in the support part of the CRM modules. So I'm going to just dive in and really just a high level flow, just to kind of get you a little bit of an orientation of how CRM can work for your business. Again, there's 100 different ways to set this up. This is the demo data, so we're just going to kind of use the framework that Acumatica has given us there. And then just kind of walk through. And I'll touch on the Outlook integration, the mobile app, and then we can also, you know, talk about these other ways of getting data into Acumatica for CRM activities. So we're going to jump into my Outlook, and I'm in a demo email account, and I want to capture Maya Green, who is at the summit, and she is part of a webinar that is from VIP Integrated Payments, and I want to set her up as a contact within Acumatica. So within Outlook Office 365, I have the ability to add in a plugin for Acumatica, and when I click on that, I've already logged in, so it's going to cache my credentials, and it's going to give me some options that I can do right from within this email. And if you weren't logged in, then obviously you've got to enter your Acumatica user credentials to be let into the plugin. And you'll see in this instance, it's picking up Maya at VIP Integrated Payments, and it allows me to do a couple of things. So I'm actually going to just start right at a contact and then kind of work through the system from there. So I want to create this email and this contact person as a contact in Acumatica. So I just click on Create Contact. You'll see it's pulling out Maya's name, Maya Green, and the email. I could then put in, you know, sales. And if there was a pre-existing account or customer within Acumatica that I wanted to associate this to, then I would have the full ability to make that link right here. I'm going to leave that open for right now. And then I'm going to just give it the name and the account name, and then we'll create that customer later in the demo. And then the source, so I can, you know, just say, you know, this was a referral, came in through email, and now all I have to do is hit the Create Contact button, and then that is actually going to create that record within Acumatica for me. So now the record is created. You'll see now I get a little bit different view. I'm getting some information that this is their position and the account name that I've established. And now you see it's changed to give me additional options that I can view the contact. I can log this email activity to that contact. I can create a support case, or I can create an opportunity against this contact record. And just to show that it actually is in Acumatica, I'm going to go over to my marketing tab, and I'm going to click on my contacts. And that's going to give me the list of all my contacts in the system. And I'm just going to type Maya. And now you'll see that Maya Green has been created in my Acumatica 2021 R2 beta system. And we've done some predefined setups and configurations in the background that basically any new contact that's created is going to come in as a business kind of lead class. And then that's going to allow me to do some things as far as maybe assigning this to specific individuals within my organization through some workflow automatically. Right now, I don't have it turned on, so that I would have to go in and actually assign an owner to this. You'll see the owner is blank. But I could have that happening in the background with Acumatica, where depending on, you know, what class or what route I want this contact to take in the system, I can auto assign that owner. So we have that contact now in the system. I'm going to go back into my Outlook, and I could view it here as well. So it's really nice that if you've got salespeople, they're more comfortable working in Outlook. They can just click View Contact, and it's going to actually bring up a pop-up window with that contact record. Again, it's caching my credentials. So if I hadn't been in here for a day or two or whatever the timeout is, it would actually have prompted me to enter my credentials again. So you have to have access rights to be able to get to that information. But once you do, then now you have the ability right within Outlook in this pop-up to see all of the events that I have related to this, this contact that we have. And you'll see right now, I don't have this email logged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit log activity. And I'm going to log it to this contact. You can see if I had cases out there or opportunities, I could log those out. These are grayed out right now, so I don't have that. I'm going to hit create. And then now it's actually logged that email to this contact record. If I hit refresh on that, you'll see now that that email is logged to the contact record. So from within here, I could also add additional activities at any point. I could send an additional email right from within Acumatica. Obviously, I could do it from my Outlook. I can do it from here as well. I can then come in and, you know, say maybe I took a phone call for this contact. It'll open up another window here, and I can, you know, just put had quick with Maya to discuss needs. And I could track time if I wanted to, if I was doing this to specific internal projects or anything like that, I could do that. In this instance, I'm going to just pick my non-project post. If it was billable or not, if I'm sending out services or anything, I can say, well, it took me an hour on the phone with him. So I'm getting a little bit of information. It picked up me as the owner, but this would be anyone in your organization that you would want to assign this to. The owner is that responsible party that's going to do the feedback in the activity. And then once I have everything the way I want it, I could just save that. It's going to save that activity, or I could actually say, yes, I've completed this, so that it will now show when I go back into the contact record, it'll show that activity as completed right here. So we've created that contact in there, and now maybe Maya is going to actually buy something from us. So I'm going to go back into my Outlook email, and at this point, you know, I want to create an opportunity because she's going to buy some Lego sets from me, and maybe a computer down the road. So I'm going to create an opportunity from within Outlook. And at this point, I'm just going to let it be the default prospect stage, but you'll see I have the ability to set it at any one of these. These are definable and configurable by you. You know, when is the estimation? When are they going to potentially buy? And I could put a manual amount, or I could just leave this 0, which is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to let Acumatica calculate the value of the opportunity based on the products that I assign to the opportunity. So I'm just going to create this opportunity from within the screen. And you'll see now opportunity 395 has been created. And again, if I'm a salesperson and now I want to go in and start managing that, I could do it right from within Outlook. To make the screen a little bit bigger, I'm going to go right into the desktop version, and I'm going to go into my opportunities, and you're going to see 395 has now been created from VIP integrated payments, and I'm going to select that. It's now tied my contact record to that opportunity, and all of that was generated from Outlook. It's also brought in my tagged and logged email from that into the opportunity. So if this had, additional information about, hey, I need to purchase some Lego sets, I could do that. My value is not being calculated yet. If I go over to details, then I can actually start adding products to this opportunity. So I'm going to just type Lego here. I'm going to select my Lego set, and I'm going to buy, they want 10 of them. And when I save this, it's going to start calculating the amount of the opportunity. So if I had, 100 lines of products here, it's going to calculate based on the quantity and the unit price and give me that roll up. Again, I could also override that and say, well, this deal I think is going to be 100,000 or whatever you want to do. There's some flexibility there. From this point, typically what you would do is this would now go into a kind of a quoting loop with that prospect, where you're sending them the pricing and you need to send them a quote, and that would have versioning information. Also, again, we're picking up that contact information, but I always have the ability to override and then basically add in additional information that I need to capture for that if it wasn't part of that contact record. I also have a CRM tab, which is, I'm getting this from different sources. I'm also possibly adding some weighting as I move through my stages. I'm going to get some, probability weighting. Prospect is 0. If I go to nurture, I may be 5%. So the total weight of the project, I'm going to get $55 potentially. So I have the ability to set those stages and the probability and weighting. And that's going to feed my pipeline reporting. So by salesperson, or just if you as managers are looking, or business owners are looking at that, you can run those reports to see, where are we in the pipeline to get that information. You can also see that I'm also tying into the marketing campaign piece of Acumatica, to where by this opportunity, I could set this to a different marketing campaign that I've set up in the system for tracking and for doing mass emails. And we'll get to that towards the end of the demo. Again, if you were project accounting based, you could assign a project to the opportunity for project revenue and costing tracking. I also have my financial information, so billing address, credit terms, all of that can be defaulted. From a shipping standpoint, maybe I want to set that they're going to use FedEx overnight as a default for anything generated from this opportunity. I can set that attribute. So the attributes are following the opportunity class. And this one, I just have, some predefined values in here for what are they looking for. And we can say, well, they're looking for toys right now. And then if I had any relations that I may want to tie to, I can tie these to different, maybe a different business user or a related entity within Acumatica. This is really an interesting thing because I can then link this to maybe another customer, another lead, another contact, maybe a specific employee within my, my system. So I can now, since I picked employee, my document type is going to pick my employee records. So I can say, well, you know, maybe Layla referred this, and maybe I want her communications that I send. Maybe she needs to be brought in as well. So I can associate all of that from within my relations tab. If there's any taxes or discounts, those could be applied as well. So at this point, what I want to do is I want to now open this opportunity that I'm actively working on it. And it's going to say, you know, why are you doing that? And I'm qualifying it. And maybe, you know, I'm getting to a approve for negotiation. I can go ahead and set that stage. And again, these are editable and configurable by you, the users. And I'm going to hit OK. It's going to change that to open and negotiate. And now I want to create a quote for this, this contact. But you'll see I don't have a business account yet and maybe a shipping location, but I just want to get this to Maya so she can review it. So I'm going to click the Create Quote button at the top. And you'll see it gives me a little bit of information here. And this is important in that if you change pricing, or maybe you created the opportunity and then maybe 6 months later, now you're sending it out, maybe pricing has changed, or maybe you've added some discounts or those type of things. And you may want to hit the recalculate check marks here so that I can update those prices to reflect what the business is actually doing at that moment. You know, COVID has really turned everything upside down. This may be an important thing where you're maybe giving discounts or you're maybe marking things up. It can work both ways. So I'm going to hit create and review so that it's going to create the quote and then open it so I can open and review the thing. You'll notice in the new version that instead of having the big pop-up screen in the middle, they are now, whoops, demo data. That's the first one, hang on. Give me 1 second, let me try to get this
Still
open.
refreshing where it was.
Let's go back into 395. It did create the quote, so let's go into that quote now. There we go. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there, but so now we have a quote. It's got my product in here. I can add additional products here into this screen, or in the sense of what I wanted to do is maybe I want to get some versioning here. So I'm going to actually go into my opportunities back here. I'm going to go back into it in the larger screen so it's not a pop-up. And what I want to do is I want to actually copy this quote, because maybe they want to add an additional item or product to the quote, but I want to retain my original quote so that I can see the versioning of that. So I can just hit copy quote, and it'll copy whatever line that I'm on. Again, I get the, you know, recalculate prices and discounts. I'm just going to leave those unchecked, and you'll see it's giving me that information up there. I've copied this quote now, and I'm going to add maybe a laptop to this. And we're just going to add one. Again, you're going to see that when I save it, it's going to add the additional information or not. I apologize. It was working this morning.
It is beta after all.
Murphy's Law always rules here.
I thought it was brave to use a newly released beta version of the software.
So it calculated it up. So now I've got a new version of that, and I can set that as primary. In this instance, maybe I want to go ahead and send this out to Maya. And that's going to give me that information there. It's marked as sent now. So I can go back into my opportunity. And I'm not actually going to send this because that is a real email account for her. And we'll have now that we've got the activities are now being tracked. You'll see now that I've got that that email that was just sent out to Maya at Integrated Payments. It's picking up a template. This template can be, made to look as customer facing as you want with HTML and CSS style sheets and those type of things. We're just using text in this specific template, but it's all tracked with that. You'll see now I've got the quotes there. I can set that as primary. And then what I may want to do is go back into that quote, and Maya has now come back and said, I accept this. And these are new features of this version. I have to say I'm not 100%. The help file didn't get what is converted and what does that do in the system. These are workflow elements that are being set up, but I can set this as mark as accepted or decline. I'm going to mark it as accepted. You're going to see it's going to say now that that is accepted. And when I go back into my opportunity, it's going to now give me the ability that, now I need to convert this opportunity to a business account so that I can now create that account so that I can create a sales order against that one quote. So I'm going to create the account now. It's going to pop up and say, what do you want the account to be? I'm going to say VIP. I'm going to hit create and review. It's going to create it in the background for me. And now the status is still going to be prospect, and I'm going to leave it as prospect right now just so you can see the flow here. And if I go back into my opportunity, you'll see now that I have a business account associated. It's set up a main location, but if they had more locations, we could set those up on the business account. But again, this one is set to a prospect. But what I want to do is I want to create a sales order against that. And I'm actually going to force an error here. So Acumatica is going to tell me that I can't do this because my business account has not been converted from a prospect to a customer. So I'm going to go create sales order. And you'll see prior to creating an invoice or sales order, the opportunity must be associated with a customer account. So what I want to do is I want to go back into my business account, and I'm just going to extend this now to a customer. And then once that's done, you'll see it pulls up now a customer screen, and I can flip back and forth from the customer to the business account. If I go back into the business account, you'll see I also have the ability to flip this and extend it to a vendor as well. So that works out great, like your employees, where you're also paying them as well for maybe expense reports or something. We could extend that out that way.
Hey, Tim, you didn't save the customer, so I think it's still a prospect.
Oh, so let's try that again. Good catch. Nope, it caught it.
Oh, it did. Okay. It just didn't refresh the prior screen.
Yeah. So now once I'm in the opportunity, I can now, that I have that customer, I can now create that sales order. You'll see now it gives me an opportunity now to select an order type. So again, if you needed to select a specific order type that was in your system that you could use to send, we could do that. I'm just going to select sales order, but I want to copy all my configurations from my opportunity into that sales order. And when I hit OK, you'll see it gives me now that little unobtrusive little pop-up that just goes away. I don't have to hit close or anything like that I did before. So as Patricia was saying, those little minor UI updates that Acumatica is always continually to do, just to make it easier and less clicks that you have to deal with. Another one is you'll notice that it created my sales order, and you'll see now I've got a nice green highlight around my create shipment. And this is the new workflow engine in the background, which is allowing me to highlight things that a user can or should be doing in a document or a transaction. In this instance, you know, what is my next step? You know, the create shipment is that piece. So you'll see I can do a quick process. I can do create shipment, and you'll see again, it's giving me a little bit of highlights here that that are allowing me to do my job a little bit faster. You'll also notice the action menu. It doesn't say action anymore. It's the three little ellipsis dots. And when I click on that, you'll also notice that I get it laid out a little bit cleaner in the sense that it's now kind of horizontally going out. So I don't have this just extremely long action menu, and it's segmented into different areas that I have the ability to interact with. So I could cancel this order. I can print the sales order. I can email it. I could actually create a purchase order from here, or a transfer order, or manufacturing if this was a manufactured item. From this point, normal kind of pick, pack, and ship would kick in at that point. We're not really going to go over that today. But if I go back to my opportunity now, let me save this order so it will. So I'm going to actually save this sales order, get an order number. Now, if I go back to my opportunity, you'll see I have my quote here. But if I go to my business account, I'm now going to see the orders associated with that account. If I go to my customer, so this is a little bit different, where the business account is going to show me those CRM functions and activities. So the leads, contacts. So I've got Maya as my contact. Any attributes from a business accounts perspective, any activities that are associated with that are going to come into that business account. But I'm also going to get my opportunities, my cases, my orders associated with that. If I go to the customer record, I'm not going to see the opportunities, cases, or orders. So this is where business account is going to give you that view of what's going on with that customer. Okay. And then now I could just close this as one. And now that will update my, my opportunity. And now all of that will get into the database. So if I'm doing any kind of reporting or pipeline, that's going to pull through to those reports. So that's kind of a high level from how I can go from Outlook, or if I'm in maybe the mobile app, I'll pull my phone up and I can go into the Acumatica application, and I'm logged into this same instance. And you'll see I have the ability to look up my contact. In this instance, I can search for Maya. Oops, I hit the wrong one. So I can search for Maya, and there she's showing up. I could click on that. I'll get the pertinent information about her, any activities. So I'm getting that email quote just right here on my phone through the mobile application, any responses that I have. If I go over to others, I can now see the opportunities that are associated with her contact record, any cases. So we're going to do that next. Marketing list, CRM information, attributes. So I can, set those right from here. Whatever we want, however many employees, what's their revenue, and they're looking for toys. So I can set that right from the mobile application. I can save that, and then that's going to update Acumatica in the background. So a lot of flexibility there. I can also go to those the business accounts and see that information right from my Android or iOS device. I'm going to search for VIP if I can type. There's my business account, which is now a customer. You'll see at the top, the type is a customer. And again, I can now see, again, the opportunities. I can see those orders all from my device, either my tablet or my phone. Okay. So now maybe we've shipped the product out, and now the salesperson gets a call from Maya and she's not happy. We've shipped the wrong product out and I need to create a support case. So as a customer service person, again, I'm in my Outlook. This is where I live most of the day. I can now come in and just create a support case. I can give a severity, we shipped the wrong product, maybe it's an urgent. And I can select different classes. So, it's maybe a product support incident, and I'm going to create that case. And again, I can view the case from here. Since it's created, you'll see I've got a case number of 162. Again, I'm going to just come in here because it's easier to see. So I'm going to go into my support module now, go to cases.
And by the way, you don't have to create it from Outlook. You can create it directly into the application. It's whichever you prefer to do as a user.
Absolutely. I just would click the plus button here to create a new one and then fill out the detail here. Since we did create it from Outlook, I'm just going to use that one because it ties everything together. You'll see it knows that Maya is part of VIP. And because I selected that product support incident, it's triggered some workflow and setup pieces in the background. I can put in here, we shipped product if that didn't come through on the email. Any additional information that I may need to associate, attributes. So I can say it's the AA Lego 500 and they purchased it today, just as some attribute values that I'm doing. And I can maybe say, I sent her an email, or I had a phone call or whatever. I'm going to get that tracking here as well in this case. Again, I'm getting the related cases. So if this was maybe tied to another previous case, I could tie those two together. And again, we're getting that relationship tab where I can associate to other areas within Acumatica, or just collecting additional information. So I can tie all that together. And then once I have all of that, I can save it, I can open it, or as a user within the system, I can run assignment rules on this, where it will auto assign it to employees based on maybe the class ID or the business account, or a lot of different features that we can do, or maybe the severity, maybe urgent cases go to different people within your organization. So I can have my assignment rules do that. In this instance, I'm logged in as Maxwell Baker. I can just say, I'm going to take the case, and it's going to assign me as the owner of this case. So I'm going to be the one in our organization that is going to work this. I can open that case and say it's now in process, so it changes the status. You'll see I could then create a service order if we needed to go out and do some repairs. You know, I can say that now I've responded to the customer and I'm waiting on the customer to give me feedback. I'll change that and say, you know, I'm waiting on confirmation or more information required. So now from a reporting standpoint on dashboards or KPIs or generic inquiries, I can get that information relayed and see that to manage my business in a better way. And then once, you know, we've done what we needed to do, again, I can come in here and say, maybe this is tied to something else, maybe a sales order or within the system. I can tie that together where I can tie it back to that original sales order that we sold them. And, you know, once we've maybe done a return, I'm going to close this out. So I'm going to close that and say, well, we've resolved it. It's been shipped back out. And now we have that completed. It's resolved. And again, that gets queued up in the database so that I can report on it after the fact. So that's the support cases within Acumatica, just at a real high level. And then lastly, want to just spend just a few minutes on the marketing side. And the marketing side, again, I can do the leads, contacts, I can do mass emails, I can view opportunities from that. I can create marketing campaigns and use marketing lists that can feed that campaign, which could then feed mass emails. And that's kind of the kind of overview that I'm going to do this afternoon, is that I'm going to actually review a marketing list that we already have out there. And I've created one called Upgrade, where it's pulling from a dynamic list, which is actually a generic inquiry in the background. So I'm going to click on Upgrade, and you'll see it's a dynamic list. And you'll see my list members is going to now automatically run my inquiry and pull in those members from that inquiry. So if I go back here and go to the MK-list-01, I'm just going to pull up my inquiry, and you'll notice that what I'm filtering on is I'm going to look for my inventory ID that equals this AA Compute 01, and I'm wanting to go back in time, you know, 365 days. So I want to look at 12 months worth of potential sales or invoices that have gone to customers, and I want to use that to drive my marketing list. So I can just do a preview here, and that's going to show me, here's all of my 17 customers that have bought this computer in the past. And now I want to send them some marketing literature, or, hey, it's time to upgrade your computer and maybe buy a new one. So now I can come back in here. I'll have my list members. And then this is going to pick up any activities that I do against that, that marketing list. But now I can create a campaign. And I've created one called Upgrade. And I've set it for today's date out through the end of the year. That's the length that I want to do. And if I have any opportunities that are already coming in on that, I can track those based on associating this marketing campaign to that opportunity. So we saw that early on when I went through it, where on the CRM information, I'm now tying this opportunity to that specific campaign. So I can track dollar amounts based on that. You'll see I don't have any members associated with this campaign yet, but all I have to do is hit add new members and tie that to my marketing list. And you'll see it pulls in those 17 records, and all I have to do is hit add all or select the ones that I want to bring in. I'm just going to add them all. Now I have my 17 records associated to my marketing campaign. And again, that was dynamically driven. So if we roll the day forward, it's going to look at the last 365 days of invoices and bring in those records accordingly. And then now what I want to do is I want to send out a mass email from that marketing list and that campaign. And I'm just going to click the new mass ID, and I'm going to say this is from my system, and we're going to say upgrade. And I'm going to pull it from that marketing list of upgrade. And this is where I can see the messages and the activities that are going to go out, and I can associate a template here. We have previously purchased a AA Compute 01. And I could put additional information about, what other products we might have and those type of things. And I'm going to save that. And then when I hit send, then it's going to queue all of that up. And I can set this to prepared. And I'm going to send that. And it's going to send it to 19 emails from that list. And those have been queued to send. I'm not actually going to send them out. But as Patricia mentioned earlier on, what it's going to do in the background is we're now going to see in the future, and unfortunately this doesn't have it in there yet, is it's going to actually show the emails that were sent out. And again, I'm not going to send these, but it's going to also track opened or viewed click information at some point. So that'll be kind of a helpful thing for a tracking, kind of like Constant Contact or MailChimp. So it's going to be built in to the Acumatica campaign piece. That's really what we wanted to show this afternoon for CRM. But if I don't know, Patricia, if we've gotten any questions or
any other questions
talk about.
The only question I got was how to install the Outlook plugin. And I think what we'll do is if anybody wants to install it, just reach out to us and we'll help you do that. We're not going to cover that here. One thing that I want to say, and not to ruin Tim's demo, but most of our customers do not use Acumatica to send mass marketing campaigns to unknown entities just because your IP address can be blocked if somebody complains. So a lot of people use Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever. There's a lot of them. And some of them have integrations to Acumatica. So, but we use this tool, for example, to send email campaigns to our customers.
Or just general communication.
Yeah, like when there's going to be, your system is going to be down for maintenance or something like that. We actually use Acumatica to do that because our customers are known entities and that's not an issue. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. I think most people do, but just in case. And if you have any questions, please, I don't know if I can unmute everybody or can I?
I will just say just quickly back on how to set the integration up to Outlook. It's pretty easy. in the sense that if you go to your user profile and go to email settings, there's going to be a download Outlook add-in manifest. So you'll want to download this file to your local system. And then if you're in Outlook, and it requires Office 365, so I'm going to log in as that demo account here. Oops. So maybe that's going to let me. Well, sorry about that. Not sure why it's not letting me log in, but basically when you go into an email, you have the ability to do add-ins. And when you select that add-in, in this instance, it's right here on my toolbar, you'll select that add-ins, and then that's going to take you to a page, and you're going to go to my add-ins. And then you'll see I've got the custom add-in for Acumatica. And basically you're going to select add a custom add-in and do it from a file. And then you're going to use that manifest file as the driver to connect your Outlook to your Acumatica instance. And that's it.
Any other questions? I'm gonna unmute everybody. I don't know if okay. So if you guys have any questions, you should be able to speak. Otherwise, we really appreciate your time today, and I hope that this information was helpful. And we'll talk to you soon. And if you have any specific questions, most of you have our email addresses. Timo@pcbennett.com, patriciab@pcbennett.com.
And as always, when we post this to our blog page, I'll have the demo notes so that if you wanted to kind of follow along in the same process, those will be available for download as part of that blog post.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.